This is the second part of things I have encountered. 1. These take place within the past year at my current job. I work in a medical office and my friend and I were getting ready to clock out and go home when the door to the employee area slammed shut. Not like a normal slam, like a 400-pound man slammed against it. The door will click shut when the AC would turn on, but this was totally different. She said she spotted a black shadow walking through the wall in front of us right before this happened. A few months later I transferred to one of our other offices and I was in my room with a patient and a marker flew off the top of my dry erase board and shot across the room and landed at my feet. The board is in the wall with a tack, so there is a gap between the wall and the board, this where I keep the marker. It would have had to come up and over the board to come out. 2. I went to a supposedly haunted graveyard with my best friend and her sister for fun. It was around 2 or 3 in the afternoon and it was a very small graveyard, only one path in and out. My friend's sister and I were walking towards the back of the graveyard when she grabbed my arm and pointed. There was this black hooded figure sitting on a bench bent over. It was black but you could see the tombstones behind it because you could see through it. Almost looked like the Grim Reaper. We turned and ran back to the car where my best friend was. 3. I worked in a daycare at a school that used to be an abortion clinic. I was waiting with the last kid who was 14. We were sitting at the front facing the stairs. They were blocked off and there were huge plants in front of the stairs and a classroom was to our left. This Native American music started blaring from the classroom and the kid went to check and he said the radio wasn't even plugged in. He came and sat back down and the door at the top of the stairs opened as wide as it would go and slammed shut. I am positive we were the only 2 people in the building. We waited for his dad outside after that. 4. The next few take place at my ex's house. These experiences all felt threatening in nature to me. My best friend and her boyfriend were sleeping in the guest room at his house and my boyfriend and I were in his room. We were talking and all of a sudden we heard a baby cry twice from the hallway. There were no babies in the house. My friend knocked on our door and asked if we heard the baby. None of us got much sleep that night. Another night I was waiting on my boyfriend to take a shower and I was sitting at his computer desk and my chair was shoved from the back and I was pushed forcefully into the desk. I thought it was my boyfriend playing around, so I turned around to yell at him and no one was there. The same night he walked to his friend's house around the corner to grab a cigarette and I felt super uncomfortable in the house, so I ran outside. As soon as I got outside all the cabinet doors in the kitchen started opening and slamming shut. The next experience belonged to my boyfriend. While I was at work he heard voices coming out of the speakers and our dog's hair was on end. I experienced the same thing a few days later. I was feeling weird in the house, so I grabbed my purse and before I turned to leave a man's voice came out of the speakers and said, "I see you." It felt more like a threat than a statement. I told my boyfriend what happened and my friend and I went back to try for EVPs and got nothing. We went back to her house and we actually got them there. She would ask a question and every time the response would be a deep growl. We were all freaked out. 5. This is the creepiest experience to me. I had a 2-bedroom apartment with my ex-husband and he was in the Coast Guard, so he was gone a lot. When you come in the door, the living room is to the left, the kitchen is to the right and a small hallway leading to our room on the left, guest room in front of you and bathroom to the right. I was watching my friend's daughter one night and she wasn't ready for bed, so I laid down and told her she could play but had to stay in my room. She was almost 2 at the time. She was having a conversation with someone and I asked who she was talking to and she said the ghost. I made her get in bed immediately. A month or so later I kept getting this suggestion in my head, almost like someone put a thought there and it would say there's a demon in that room, which was the guest room. We used it for storage in the cat's litter box. The cats hated that room. The closet always felt weird to me. I ignored it but the feeling kept getting stronger. I called my pastor and asked him what to do and he said to claim the blood of Christ and use olive oil and mark all entrances with a cross. So I went through every room of the house and did as he said. I saved the closet for last. I knew that's where the thing was. I opened the door. I have tears as I'm writing this. I have never felt such pure evil, rage and hatred in my life. It was pouring out of that closet. I will never forget that feeling. It was pissed. I blessed that room and it felt a lot lighter. We moved out shortly after that. My sister lived in the apartment below us and she said she would hear footsteps all the time after we moved out. Those are my experiences. What do you guys think? I think maybe I'm sensitive to these kinds of things or they are drawn to me for some reason. I don't know. I'm a Christian and I believe in demons not ghosts and I think all my experiences were demonic in nature.